Welcome to The Adult Table, a podcast where we sit down with people in the SACE and our STEM community. We set the virtual table to bring in a diverse set of guests to engage in the casual conversation on their professional career and life.
With this podcast, we hope that we can bridge the gap between the hierarchy involved with growing up. We can redefine what it means to be able to figuratively sit at the adult table.
I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason Chin.
And I'm your other co-host, Jenny Chung.
And today we have a special guest. So Kristy Chan joins us at the adult table. She is one of the current SACE volunteers and is the co-RMRM, co-regional marketing representative manager. So Kristy graduated Stevens Institute of Technology with a bachelor's in chemical engineering in 2020. And Kristy now lives in the great city of Boston, working for P&G as a process development engineer. So Kristy, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great.
Yeah, so how have you been? What else, or what have you been up to these days?
Honestly, I feel like work has been really busy for me recently. I've been on like a rotation. So technically my title right now is a packaging engineer. Yeah, so like at my site, we have these like 6-month rotations that we go on. So I'm at like month 5 or something now. And you know, it's like kind of like an internship where like once you hit like month 4 or 5, you're like, shit, I really should start doing something. And then I just have my pile of work actually like sitting here now. So yeah, I've been super busy with work. And what else do I do in my free time? I bake a lot now, guys.
Oh yeah.
Random fun fact. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Can I get some of that?
Yeah, I made like 6 cupcakes like 2 days ago, but then I ate all of them. So probably should go to the gym too at some point.
That's
okay.
Cool.
What's been like the coolest thing that you've baked recently?
Okay, so I don't think this is cool, but I guess the weirdest thing I made. This was for stream, okay, for the record.
I watched this stream.
Oh, you were there? Okay,
I was there.
Yeah. So basically, like I had sabotages and it came out a lot better in my head in terms of taste, right? I was like, okay, I can have like a soju shot. I can have people sabotage putting like mayo or like spicy sauce. Like how bad could it be, right? And I had this genius idea. So I had this box of those like Bean Boozled jelly beans, and within them there's like all these different spicy flavors, and I was like, yeah, let me just go for the Carolina Reaper. Like how bad could it be? So I put all of them into one cupcake.
Wait, what kind of cupcake was this? Like you pulled out all of the spicy ones?
Oh no. I had one Carolina Reaper, mayo, spicy sauce, soju, and a blueberry. Really even it out.
The blueberry sounds really pleasant, but the other things.
Yeah, I did not taste the blueberry. It was supposed to be a like chocolate strawberry cupcake. So like, you know, you scoop out the insides and like put the filling in. So instead of strawberry, I just put everything else in there. It was not.
You ate all of them? You had to wait. Did you have to eat all of them, or it was just like?
I only made one of that catastrophic failure.
I see.
And it was quite a miserable experience, guys. Carolina Reapers are really spicy. Did you know that?
They're really spicy. Yeah.
Wait, so what was this for?
Yeah, it was like basically like for my stream, each month I have like rewards for like meeting a sub goal or something like that. And that month it was cooking. And I was like, oh, I can bake. But then I was like, just baking is not fun. I got to do something fun, right? So people can redeem like channel points or like subs to sabotage my menu. And
that's like where the marketing knowledge comes in. It's like she's looking to engage viewers, right? Because that'll keep them there. Because a plain old baking stream is like, okay, why would I watch someone just bake cupcakes? You gotta like make it interesting, you know?
Yeah. That was the idea. But I think all that happened was like they just laughed at my misery, to be honest with you guys.
Oh no.
That's memorable though. That's a way to get the subs, right?
Yeah, and I won't forget it.
Okay, it's a core memory. Yeah.
I will say though, just like fun fact, soju in a cupcake is actually not that bad, guys.
But does it like, is it just a moist cupcake?
Yeah.
Like,
I put it in the batter while I baked it.
oh,
Yeah.
like a good, it's like sweet enough, right? That's like,
Yeah.
it
And I had
kinda
like a
blends in.
peach soju. So
Oh,
it was actually
okay.
pretty tasty.
Yeah, that
I think the
sounds pretty
jelly
good.
bean was what
The
got
jelly
it.
bean is, yeah.
Everything else, though, I will say,
Cool.
actually tasted okay.
That's cool. Let's circle back to, because I want to ask you about like your Twitch streaming and like how you got there and stuff. But I'm also curious about your work, because you mentioned that you're in a rotational program, and but there's 6-month rotations. But how many rotations do you do? Like, is it for a few years?
So it's something that's unique to the Boston site at P&G.
Okay.
So I do 1 year in what's called like my home team. So that's where I was hired into like a process development and integration role. And then after 1 year, typically you go for a 6-month rotation, which is where I'm at now. And then you go back home for a year and then you do another 6-month rotation.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, like, then you're done. Then you settle into either like your home position or another one, I guess, that you find potentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really depends, right? Like some people, you know, they go on a rotation and they really like the group and they're about at the tenure that, you know, they can move on to a new role. That's actually a really great way to I guess, like find a new role. But other people, they're like, hey, actually, I want to try something else, or I like my home group more. They can, of course, like go back to their home team. So
that's cool.
Are you allowed to do it kind of like later on in your career? Like, let's say you're thinking about moving through to like a different team.
Yeah, I think it's like typically for new hires, not limited to college new hires, obviously. Like if you're an experienced hire, you're new to the company, you still be offered, I think, into the program. But I definitely do think like for the more experienced hires, a lot of times they'll opt out of the program because they are a little bit more experienced and they kind of want to just build like, I don't know, like technical expertise or something like that, one specific field.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I've heard different variations of rotational programs, because I myself am in one that I'm finishing up soon, but it's just been like 3 1-year rotations. And after that, I don't have like a home. It's, well, you said it was unique to like the Boston site, right? That's pretty cool that you kind of like go back after a certain amount of time to get more experience there. Yeah. Okay.
What do you think's like something positive that surprised you from the rotation, and then like I guess on the other side, like negative about the rotation?
I think like the nature of the teams that I was in and I went into is really different. So like as a process development and integration engineer, I worked very closely with both like product designers. So for the record, I make razors. I don't know if I ever said that. P&G has a lot of products under our umbrella. Right. So like I personally work really closely with like our product designers, but also our like machine designers and manufacturing partners. So a lot of times I would find myself like, you know, starting up equipment, developing processes for it. But then like when I went into like this packaging role, which is actually more of like a research and development role, I think a lot of things that I did was a lot more FEI. So kind of looking at like new technologies, new materials and things like that, which like, I don't know, it's like 2 different worlds. I feel like going from, I don't know, hanging out with techs every other day to like working on FEI and like doing this like brainstorming concept for like the next 10 years or something. I'm like, huh? It's definitely really different. And also working on like products, which is what I did with my home team, to pack, which is what I do now, right, in my rotation. So the considerations are really different. The product technically that I'm designing and making is really different.
So you studied chemical engineering, and then is that like the typical, I guess, for packaging and that sort of thing? Is that like is that like similar to what you studied in school, or
no?
It's completely different. Okay,
it's like completely different.
I see.
So I said, right, I make razors, and even that, like within P&G, like it's probably one of the most like mechanical engineering type product that you can work on. Like typically I think like most chemical engineers do Tide or like any liquid products because they'll deal with a lot of, I don't know, like reactors, distillation columns or something like that. I feel like a lot of what I do is what traditionally like a mechanical engineer would be doing. Not necessarily a bad thing, you know, it definitely feels like new, but it's definitely interesting, I guess, like going to school for one thing, but then like going into industry, doing something completely different. So
right. Yeah. So like how did you, I guess, choose chemical engineering originally to study as a major? or STEM, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, so I had no idea what I wanted to do in high school, and I still don't, to be honest, but you know, that it is what it is.
Same. All of us, yeah.
But I distinctly remember like this one like chemistry class I was in where the teacher, which honestly, like I don't even know remember this so distinctly because she wasn't even like the best teacher I've ever had. Like she was just okay. I feel bad for saying this, but she'll probably never hear this, so it's okay. Guys, okay, like sidetrack. She like forgot to turn off a gas valve at one point, and then we had to stand outside for 2 hours because the fire department came because she forgot to turn the gas valve off.
So maybe, okay, so that was a memorable, that part was memorable.
Yeah, like I can't forget her. But like we had to do this exercise in that class where basically we were trying to think of like chemistry related careers. And like, I don't know why we had to do this. It wasn't even that I was learning chemistry, but I was like looking on like random websites on Google, like chemistry related careers or something like that. And I remember coming across like a makeup formulation job. And for the longest time, like actually why I went to chemical engineering is because I wanted to be like a makeup formulator. So that's kind of how I ended up in like the consumer products industry. Obviously, I don't make makeup right now, but hey, Google told me that's what I have to study, chemical engineering to make makeup. So I was like, I'm down. So it wasn't anything grand, I guess, but I was like,
okay.
Yeah. I think we're starting to realize that now as we do more and more interviews that a lot of people who go through like choosing their major in high school, it's based off of like one small thing, or it's really not based off of too much at all. And it's nice to hear that like for you in your instance, like it didn't matter as much to getting your job that's more mechanically focused. Do you think back on, I don't know, when you're looking at jobs after college, like that you would have still wanted to do that at the end, or like right now, like do you think back on what if you pursued that more?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question. So for reference, I did like all of my internships with P&G too. So I actually got my job through SAYS. I went to like a regional conference my freshman year and I had no idea what I was doing. But then someone was like, sign up for this resume review thing. And I was like, okay, let me sign up for a resume review with my freshman resume that had nothing on it. And then I went to I think this was at Drexel, and I went to the resume review room. I had no idea what I was doing and no one came to get me. And then all of a sudden it was like lunchtime or something. And I was like about to leave. And a P&G rep came and like saw me. And it was Larry, which I think like both of you guys should know. And Larry was like, are you trying to get your resume reviewed? And I was like, yeah. And then, yeah, like that's how I met Larry, who works for P&G. And he kind of talked me through the interview process and kind of helped me get my internship for my sophomore year. But it was really embarrassing, dude. That first encounter, he like asked me if I knew what P&G was, and I told him I thought we made refrigerators.
Well, you were right about consumer products, but like a little too much. I mean, honestly, like as a freshman, like I could tell you many stories of myself just being like not knowing what to do, but you put yourself out there. I think that's like the important thing, right? It's like you actually went to a conference and it impacted your life substantially. I also got my job through SAYS. As well. Yeah. So I think those conferences and career fairs have been really helpful for that sort of thing because you never know.
To actually answer your question though, Jason, because I kind of sidetracked on my kind of embarrassing story. I did all my internships at P&G. So I think like following my senior year, I did go and look, right? I like applied for a bunch of what would be typical for a chemical engineer, so like pharmaceuticals, oil and gas, even like consulting, you know, just all the pillars of chemical engineering work. And honestly, like, I think that's when I realized, I don't know if I actually wanted to do chemical engineering that badly. I guess it was some of the companies that I talked to just felt very like off-putting, and the people just like acted like they were smarter than me, which for like they probably were, but they really made me feel like that. And I was like, oh God, is that going to be the rest of my life if I work here? So that's how, like, at that point I ended up choosing to go back to PNG. Also, like, locationally, I just kind of like Boston. Like, I didn't want to live in Bumblefuck somewhere, you know. But I definitely think it's like normal though to like think about like what options there are, and I definitely don't feel like at this point in time like this is like my last company that I'll ever work for. I feel like if I told you that, or anyone told you that like around our age, like they'd be lying.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Boston was like a pretty big contender, but you went to school in so Stevens is like New York, right? Around.
Yeah, so we're Jersey. I'm from Jersey too.
Okay.
It was close to family, and I guess this is the furthest I've been out like on my own, like moving to like a new city or something.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like that far,
right?
You know, it's like 4 hours up from Jersey. Boston was a big deciding factor for me. I feel like, you know, if I move to certain parts of the country, like obviously I'm probably ignorant to what it's actually like living there, but I just get scared sometimes about, you know, how people may perceive me being an Asian female, and like whether I'd find like friends or like things like that I can actually relate to.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Like, I went to an interview with a company in Texas, and the guy that interviewed me kept telling me about rodeos. And I think he thought that was going to convince me to want to go there, but I just got really scared.
I see.
Interesting.
That is a pretty big thing in Texas, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But like it just felt so out of my element. You know, I'm not saying like I don't ever want to go to rodeo in my life. Like I'm sure if I like go visit Texas, like it'll be really fun. But that was like the thing that came up. And I was just like, oh God, like that was when I realized I was like, do I really want to live here?
Yeah, because you would be spending a substantial amount of like your more transitional period of your life there. And so I think that that's also a big factor that a lot of us were looking for like even a first time job out of college, right? So but yeah, going back to that, like how are you enjoying Boston? How has it been making friends as an adult outside of school? Because I feel like your core friend group probably in college probably isn't necessarily in Boston, right?
Yeah.
So how has that transition been for you?
Yeah, I think it would have been easier if we aren't living through a pandemic. It's like, do I want to go hang out with this new person I've never met, or do they have COVID? Like, never had that thought in my mind previous to this. But I think like I'm lucky enough that since I did do my internships here, like I at least know like coworkers. So the one thing that's good about working for a big company is that like every year they bring in like a lot of new hires are all like around your age and all like kind of moving into a new area for the most part. So that like I feel like I was lucky enough to meet like coworker friends. Secondly, of course, like we have people like y'all, right, who like used to be in the area or still live in the area that, you know, I don't feel like we hang out all the time, but you know, it's definitely still nice to know that there's Stace fam in the area and there's like Asian people. I don't know. I feel like if I didn't have Stace people in the area, I would be like, are there Asian people in this area? Because I genuinely have no idea. I know they exist, but like I have never met one outside of Stace in the wild.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
In the wild. But yeah, you know, like I definitely feel like transition would have been a lot easier though if it was like not during COVID, because I moved in and I think everyone else moved out of Boston. It was super awkward. Rent was super cheap, but then like the streets were like silent. I don't know. It's gotten better though recently, I think.
Did you move? Like when did you end up moving out to Boston? Was it right after everything started?
I graduated in May 2020. So then I moved out here in like August or something like that. So that was probably like part of peak pandemic or like one of the peaks of the pandemic. So like I said, I got a nice deal on my rent, but I did not get a nice experience moving in because everything was like closed for like 3 months after I moved in. And it was like winter in Boston, you know? I just like sat in my apartment. I was like, oh.
Yeah. There's really not much you could do. I feel like the cold weather is like another element, but then like not even be able to go out to like eat or a bar or something like that. It just adds to it.
Exactly. It's like, oh, you want to grab a drink? Good luck. You want to sit outside?
I mean, during the peak pandemic, all I did was drink with people on calls. Like the first like 6 months, it was like Zoom. It was like Zoom call after Zoom call or Discord, right? And then you're just sitting in front of your computer. Like after you do stuff on your work computer, you go on your personal computer. It's like a good screen. They say like you go from a bad screen to a good screen. And I just drink. Yeah, that was an interesting time. It was before people had like Zoom burnout.
There were suddenly a lot of party games on the internet.
There were so many. I kind of like blocked out a lot of that from my memory because it was just like the same thing for a really long time, right? And we were like hoping things would get better, but you know, now it's the norm.
It is.
Yeah.
I still feel like probably once everything's over, I'll like think somewhat fondly of like the beginning pandemic times. I feel like in the beginning it was like comfortable, like just being at home. I don't know. I'm like a homebody too, so I'm like okay with it. And then everyone was like so open to like doing all those calls, like Jenny saying, like drinking. We did like trivia like every week before, but yeah,
we did.
Be weird.
I definitely do think like surprisingly it helped me stay in contact with my college friends probably a lot more easily than I would have if I just kind of like graduated normally and moved out. Because I think like since we kind of got used to having to find someone to talk to that isn't your parents, it kind of like became like a habit, right? Where like I feel like that's when I started playing like a lot more games or like things like that. And that's kind of how I like hang out with my friends back in college still. Right. I feel like if I didn't do that, I probably like wouldn't have talked to them as frequently. So
that's a good transition to one of the big things we wanted to talk to you about. It's like your gaming career now as a streamer.
We did not call it a gaming career, but yes, I'm very bad at games.
Keep it into existence, you know? But yeah, how has it been kind of branding like your whole streaming thing on Twitch? And I know you talked a little bit about baking as a part of your streams, but how else has that experience been?
I definitely do think it was like the result of the pandemic once again. So like I said, right, I started playing a lot more games during the pandemic because like what else did I have to do? So that kind of evolved into like, I feel like a habit. And like I said, how I keep in contact with my friends. And the reason why I actually first started watching Twitch is because like there was the whole Among Us phase.
Among Us.
Yeah, like way in the beginning of the pandemic. And like when it first came out, I was like too embarrassed to ask people how to play the game because I felt like they were gonna like laugh at me for not knowing or something. But like, why would they do that? So I like naturally looked up a YouTube tutorial, like that exists
for Among Us.
Yeah.
Okay,
it didn't exist. Instead, I found like Twitch clips. You know, like I think I found that whole OTV squad. Yeah. And I just started watching their videos to figure out how to play this game. And I got good at the game. But that's kind of how I like first found Twitch. And I guess they brought me into the Twitch community. And then I don't know. I don't even know why I started streaming, honestly. I think it was just kind of like, hey, this looks kind of fun. Like, why not give it a try? But I will be honest. I think like when I first started thinking about the idea of streaming, it was a lot easier in my head than I had realized. I was like, oh, I just turn on the camera and talk. How hard could it be? I was naive. It is actually kind of difficult and there's a lot to it.
Oh, I see. Because I also got into Twitch like because of offline TV and Among Us. I watched so much Among Us. Literally every day. I think I just had Among Us on. Just dumping out so much content. And I also was playing Among Us with like friends as well. It's like really easy to just like fill a lobby. And then I also started streaming. I think everyone had a period where I also started streaming on Twitch, but I also don't have the equipment really. But like I was able to stream on my MacBook Pro. That I Windows partition, so I have boot camp, so because you can only play Among Us.
Oh my gosh!
But my computer was able to handle it. And then at that point, I was like, "Oh, should I buy a PC?" But like parts were super hard to get, like even to get a graphics card and whatnot. So I just never pursued it further than that after.
Oh my
But it was fun to like
gosh.
just watch friends play.
I didn't know
and
you
stuff.
were a
Yeah.
streamer.
No, I had a very brief stint of streaming, and then we also had another friend who also streamed, and then now she also is a streamer. She plays old school RuneScape. So like that's her like niche, right? It's like,
Fancy. Okay.
yeah, but that's pretty cool. Like you just started, and then now you have like a community that you built, right? That
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like, okay, so there's that like first wave of streamers that started during the pandemic, right? Like kind of during that Among Us era. I wanted to, but I think I kept giving myself like one excuse after the other, just because I was just like probably a little too scared or something. And then I was like, okay, I will give myself until I buy myself like a good PC. But then because of the parts shortages, whatever, month passes, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm never going to stream. But then I went and bought myself like a pre-built, which like, you know, everyone has their opinions on the pre-built, but I'm gonna just say I didn't have to build it myself.
True.
And it was a pretty good deal, I would say. So it's fine.
3080? Do you have a 3080, 3070?
No. I have a 3060.
Okay, that's still pretty good. 3060 is pretty good.
Yeah, I have a 3060. The 3080s, like, oh my God, like just for the card itself, I think some of them went for like $2,000 or something. And I was crazy. Like, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually kind of crazy. But so then like I think like my friends called me out on it. They're like, didn't you say you're gonna start streaming? And then I was like, I did say that, didn't I? So I couldn't back down anymore. So I was like, you know what, why not? But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. You can say I got peer pressured into it.
You became successful out of spite. No, not out of spite. Like, I'll show you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Are you just like a variety streamer, or like what type of things do you stream besides like baking that you mentioned?
For when I first started it, I was doing a lot of Valorant because honestly, like that's just a game currently that I enjoy the most. But it was kind of demoralizing at first because like it's actually really hard to get viewers. So on Twitch, how it works is that if you're more viewed on the Discover page, you're like more on top. And like honestly, most people don't find Twitch streamers on the Discover page. Like they've like I found them through YouTube, right? For example.
Right.
So like in the beginning, like I like didn't really advertise it, and it was kind of demoralizing because I just felt like I was just talking to myself, you know, like people weren't chatting or anything. So then I switched more to like just chatting. And I think that was a lot easier, where you start off chatting and I would like have like different like I guess content ideas that like or like conversation starters. Like I used to do like questions of the day or like hot takes of the day or like something like that. So that kind of piqued people's interests a little bit more. So I think that's kind of how like I got more into like variety streaming, where I'll do like chatting and like, you know, baking, reacting, whatever, but then also do games, whether it be like Valo, I don't know. I've been playing Pokemon recently. Somehow I'm really bad at the game. So
Wait, the one for Switch? What is it?
Arceus or something. Arceus, you have to like actually aim the Pokeballs, and I keep missing.
I see.
See, that's why when Jason said gaming career, I was like, whoa. Let's take it. Let's step back.
Do you think some of those like nerves that you had from the beginning have kind of lessened throughout your streaming? Because I think like a joke that like Jenny and I will say all the time is every time before an episode we freeze up, and it's now been, I don't know, a year and a half at this point, and we always thought that I think at a certain point it has gotten a lot easier, but I don't know, that still hits a lot. You have that kind of experience too.
I do think so. It's like, I don't know, y'all, like low key, like kind of deep, but like imposter syndrome is like high key a thing, right? And especially like you guys get it, right? Because you have a podcast, and it's hard not to feel like your success and your enjoyment sometimes like benchmarked off of like the metrics that you get. Right. And for a live stream, it's like your viewers are like sitting there in front of you. You can see how many people are on your stream at all times if you choose to see it. And I think like in the beginning, it was really daunting because like I would just, you know, fidget and like look back and forth. And I also like felt nervous, I guess, like announce it to people outside of like, I guess like friends, because I felt like someone was gonna laugh at me, but also like, why would they laugh at me? Like, like, okay, you know, I don't think that's all gone away. I think I still feel that where like every time before I go live or something, I do feel nervous, right? I'm like, it's like that anxiety that I'm sure y'all get, right? Like before you actually hit the button and just like full send. But I will say it's gotten easier to just like commit to the fact of just being like, you know, it'll probably turn out fine. And even if it doesn't, you still had a good time. So
yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. I think we've noticed that too with our last episode, where it's the first longer episode where it's just Jenny and I. And I guess I don't want to speak for Jenny, but like I just had a lot of fun like having that conversation and kind of jumping all around. And maybe in terms of like listeners or whatever, it might not have hit, I don't know, whatever numbers that you might try to think of beforehand. But in the end of the day, like this is all for like your personal like enjoyment, right? I don't know. I'm not trying to make this like my career necessarily. So
yeah, but I wouldn't be mad
if you went full time.
I think like, but I think also in like times like now, it's like not romanticized, but kind of romanticized, right? The influencer life. So like people thinking more of it as like a potential career path now, because in the past it's never been like that at all. It's like YouTubing was very new, but now it's like introduction of like TikTok and so much more like social media with live streaming and stuff like that. It's become easier for anyone to do it, right? But then it's more about commitment to doing it consistently, right? To build that habit, but also whether or not you think the content is good, it's still good to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's always the first step. If people like, they're always like, oh, it has to be perfect. My first thing that I write or that I record has to be perfect. But I think at this point, I've learned that it's kind of just like, you just do it. It's okay if it sucks in the beginning, because it always does. Like you're never perfect, right.
I completely agree with that. Like I think that like how you articulated it was like actually like pretty spot on. Like I don't know, everyone starts off being like, oh, I think this is going to be the best thing ever, and then who is good at like literally the first time at doing anything? No one. But then it's like kind of demoralizing until you actually like get better and you figure out how to do it. So
yeah, I think that like goes to also I want to go back to like school and career kind of too, because I think in the beginning, when I graduated high school, I was such a good student. I was like A's and stuff. And then when I got to college, I realized that everyone was a good student and I wasn't like the best, right? And then it became a leveled out. And then to that point, it was like, oh, why should I try something new if I know I'm not going to be good at it? Or that's like a weird like mindset I think was ingrained in me. It's like, oh, I should be good at something when I first started. And so that's why I didn't really have that many hobbies like in college, just because I was so focused on like doing things well or like performing well. Yeah. And then now I realize that as an adult, you don't need to have hobbies you're good at. Like, you don't need to be good at everything you do. Yeah. Like, you can be bad at something, but you can still enjoy doing it, right? Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of something that I like what do I like doing? You're like, what are my hobbies? Taking photos. Yeah, I like taking photos and stuff, but I'm not like a professional photographer. Yeah. Like I like just taking pictures of like landscapes. You don't need to make every hobby also a career. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like you can just do it for fun. Like it'll be cool if you make like some money on it. I think the mindset of like the millennial Gen Zers is like, oh, you can make anything into a career. But then once it becomes a career, it's not all what it seems, right? Yeah. Yeah, like the enjoyment of the hobby even goes away when you're relying on it for your finances and for like your well-being, and like that's the whole point of the hobby, to have that enjoyment. So if you're trying to turn all of that into a career and then now it's like stressing you out, because I feel like at the end of the day, any job is going to be stressful to a certain extent. And you want to like put that energy into like the hobbies and things that like you found a lot of joy in, like from the beginning. I agree with that. Like I resonate with what Jenny said a lot, where like I feel like, I don't know, I was like kind of a try hard too. And I'm not saying I'm not, like I'm sure I am in like different aspects of my life. Yeah. I mean, like it's fine, right? Like it's what it is, and that's just who I am, I guess. But like I think at some point I realized when I was in college, I'm like, damn, what do I do that's fun for me, that I just like
doing other than like
same.
yeah like I'm
Yeah.
like, what if I just like live my life to live my life and I just completely suck ass at it, but it's fine because I just want to do it. Never. I remember distinctly when I was in middle school or something, I joined the school play. Okay. I was terrible at it. I can't act and I can't sing and I can't dance. I don't know why I joined the school play, but it was so freaking fun. I was god awful at it, but it was fun, right? And then as I got older, I just felt like more pressure to just like perform better. Like I feel like school got more serious. People started getting more competitive. And I think a weird trait I have is that like when people get competitive around me, I feel the need to also get competitive too. So that I'm like, okay, great. You know, I need to try really hard in school all of a sudden. And I'm like, why am I trying this hard? Like I literally could have taken some of that time and just, I don't know, did another school play or something. And it would have been completely fine. Like I probably would have still gone to college. So
yeah. No, I feel that. I think I was talking to someone in SACE recently about that, where I just wish I took less time in school. Like the extra like couple hours for like studying per se would have made like such a minor difference in my grades or minor difference in like the outcome of anything. And I would have had so much more enjoyment otherwise. But I think you also brought up a good point too. In high school or in college, there's this idea that you need to be progressing like all the time. You always need to be like working towards getting better at something. And even in like work, there's got to be a point where you'd have to be content with where you're at and that you're not like moving up forward. And I think that applies to like hobbies and everything. I think when you're younger, most of the times you do pick up things pretty quickly or like you do get better just because of like the learning curve. But at a certain point, just being content with kind of that steady level of competence.
That's completely true, right? Where I feel like it's kind of, you just have to start making priority calls. Like you can't be best at everything. Then you're just like not human, because how are you good at everything? You do things where it's like, this is what I like to do for fun. This is what I do to make a living. And this is the things I want to do because I just want to excel in them. And I just want to do it because I want to do well in it. And I feel like recognizing that has been like the biggest, I don't know, probably like growth experience for me in the past few years, because I was definitely not like that when I was in high school. So
yeah, talking about like trying new things. I remember actually, Kristy, a while ago, you reached out that you wanted to do a podcast. And I know it sounds like the kind of just like chats on stream is kind of similar, but do you think you still have that interest in starting your own podcast?
Yeah, I think like that was during my kick, which I think still exists, where I was trying to find like creative outlets. I think like for a long time, we just talked about like, I focus on school. Okay, I get into college. In college, I'm like, okay, I need to graduate, build my resume, and then like maybe have fun, you know? And then like now I'm like, well, I don't have to graduate. I have a job. Like for the most part, I'm set in most things in life for now. But it just felt very dull. Like, even though everything was like where I set, I guess, planned for it to be for like 6 years plus, it still felt like it wasn't what I needed. And I felt like what was missing was doing something that was like your own, that, you know, I can express what I want to express. Like if I want to make it a certain way, no one's there to tell me no, because I'm no boss. So that's why I was like thinking of a podcast, because I was like, well, you know, that would be really cool to just get my thoughts out there. And I was thinking about doing it with like one of my friends, which I do want to do still one day. I should get her on board.
You should do it. This is what me and Jason did, because I was like, I want to start a podcast, but I don't want to just talk like myself. Like I need someone to riff off of because it's easier.
Yeah.
But what I've also found out is that I can also talk about myself for hours. Like, and I feel bad because sometimes
there you go.
Because I'll be like, Jason, just tell me to stop talking. But like I can just go off.
Jenny, you would make a great Twitch streamer. You ever thought about making your return?
Oh, maybe, but I need to get the equipment. See, I also need the kit to like buy a PC also. We'll see. I think maybe in the near future. I do really like content creation because I think it's just fun to have that creative outlet, because studying engineering in school really drained the shit out of me. Just because of like, it's like very rigid in the curriculum itself. So you didn't even have time to like explore. Like, I'm not sure how Stevens was in their curriculum, but I didn't really even have like electives to take like other classes of things that I might be interested in. And I used to be like really kind of creative in high school. I like writing and stuff like that. But then after the 4 or 5 years, I was kind of just like, I felt dead inside. I was like, oh, I've been.
That's how I feel. Like that dinosaur, you know, I feel dead. What, like, that's how I felt.
Yeah, so I needed to just have something fun that I could do, like that I enjoy and that I will look back on. So that's why I was really into like video editing, just for fun. Yeah, so I guess that's how we end up here. But it's been good. It doesn't feel like too much of a commitment. Like we're like, oh, we'll do the podcast. If there's no like burnout from it right now, I feel like because we're pretty like on a monthly basis. So, but for your streams, are they like like every day or like weekly?
So usually I stream 3 times a week, but for the past like 2 weeks I kind of changed it to like twice, just so I like don't burn myself out. I also like do this thing where like when I first start something new, I like go like 110 into it, and then like 6 months later I'm completely burnt out and I just don't ever want to see it again.
Oh, I feel that.
So I'm just trying to avoid that. I'm like, you know, this time I need to manage my time. I need to make sure that this is something that I just do because I want to do it and it's fun, not because I'm trying to like, what am I even trying to do? You know, like, I don't know, just have a creative outlet. Exactly. Right. So once you have like your goal in sight, it's like, I need to do everything I can to make sure I don't kill myself over it. You know, I don't want to be drained inside again.
True. Wait, so is that why you did, so for like your sales position, is that why you did marketing instead of like the other collegiate positions? Or like, were you a regular RMR before you were manager?
So I guess I've been in SACE for a while now. Like, so my first position in SACE was, I don't even remember what it's called. It was like social chair or something like that. But like, basically I just got to play in all the fun things. But then eventually I did like VP and president. That was significantly less fun.
Yeah.
Less fun. I like the other one more.
We've been there.
I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. Like, what's going on? But then like, I originally wasn't even planning on volunteering for nationals because like, I just saw the RCs through like my presidency and I just didn't want to have that type of time commitment. So then somehow like the RMR position opened up. I remember like some other people who've done it before and it seemed pretty chill. So I was like, hey, you know, why not? It could be a good use of a hobby or like a skill that I had at the time. And by that, I basically just mean I use Canva. So like people our age were like, okay, cool. But everyone I work for who's like 30 and above.
Like, graphic design.
Like you're an artist.
You're like, and then you're like, graphic design is my passion.
I know, exactly. And then they keep telling me to do it. And I just keep finding Canva templates. Like it's great. But yeah, that's kind of why, you know, I kind of leaned that way. And then so I was an RMR for Northeast along with Moira. And then we were like, hey, you know, it's been kind of fun. Mainly I feel like the people is the fun part anyways. And then, you know, some other people stayed on. So we just like ended up being like RMR managers this year. So
cool. Well, for me also, because I was considering doing all the volunteering and stuff, but also I was doing a lot of other safe stuff too. So that was my bad. That's me. But I really wish I had joined because I feel like the camaraderie in like a region with all the RCs and RMRs is just like something really special, especially because you guys are all going through like 1 or 2 years together. And then, well, in the past, you guys did go on trips, but like,
Wow, thanks for rubbing it in, Jenny.
I literally didn't get to go on any either. So like I'm not even putting anything, I'm not even like
we're just like a squad of people who get to suffer together.
Yeah,
great.
we all just suffer from that, which is fine. But there's still like that level. It's like, oh, like now that I know you guys pretty well, I can go to any like area, or because people are all over like the Northeast or something like that. And then you kind of have that first connection, right? You can hang out with anyone. Because I remember, Kristy, you hit me up in Boston when you were in Boston for the summer, and I didn't know you that well, actually. But we hung out a lot because like you were just around, and then I was like, yeah, like you were pretty cool, pretty nice. And we just explored. I remember we were in Boston Chinatown, just like walking around. And
I think we went into like, we ran into Way or something one time or something.
It
was super weird. We were like, is that? Like, and he's like looking at us like, and we're like, this is weird.
Yeah,
that's Spider. We're like, huh? Yeah. And that's kind of, I feel like the like nice part of being in States, right? Like I just feel very comfortable, even if you just like met someone like briefly at a conference or something, that if I end up in an area, I can like hit them up and just be like, hey, let's be friends. And you know, they're probably like chill people for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, right.
For the most part.
Oh yeah, this guy named Jason.
This guy named Jason, I don't know about him. He can't even defend himself, this poor man.
Dude, I know. Damn. No, I definitely feel like there's something about just being on the team. Like we're on calls like once a week, twice a week, or whatever, and that camaraderie is like really, I don't know, real. That's like not a good description at all. Yeah. But for the first year,
it's real.
It's real.
We didn't like meet ever, right? Like Jenny's saying, but when we did meet like the year after, like I met up with Kristy and Jose in like Boston, and I never met them in person, but it didn't feel like there was any awkwardness in like seeing them for the first time. It was just like, oh, this is really cool, and these are like good friends that I probably talk to more than like a lot of my other friends too, because like we have all these meetings and stuff.
Yeah, and, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like the adult version of a college club, right? Because like how else do people make friends? Like you wouldn't just go, well, for me, because like I also moved to a new place, right? So I was thinking about how do people make new friends, because like people go to meetups. So people go to meetups for interest, right? So Stacey's kind of like that for post-college life. But outside of that, I feel like it's like meetups, sports stuff. People do active things, hiking, that sort of thing. I don't know. What else do adults do?
Yeah. Eat food.
Like I wouldn't eat food. Oh yeah, eating food. But like you wouldn't just go up to someone at a restaurant and be like, "Hey, do you want to eat food together?" Like, right? Like,
Jenny, you know what? You're right. Why can't I not though?
Right. Try that. Let's break that social. Let's break that social boundary and just do that. Yeah. Like what? Like what do you eat? Like sometimes you'll have like really casual conversations with like people passing by. I was at a restaurant not recently, but maybe a few months ago, and then they were sitting next to us and they were like, I recommend this. And we just had a conversation with them. But I don't know if that's like a West Coast thing. People are really nice,
I think it happens. Like, weirdly enough, I've met like random friends on the plane. So I would fly home to Jersey. Yeah, because it was cheaper to fly apparently than to do anything else. Weird concept.
Weird.
And there would be other people doing the same thing. And there was this dude that sat like kind of near me, but I don't know why people are weirdly chatty on the plane. They're just bored and they need to talk to someone. And then he was like, yo, I take this plane like every like 3 weeks or something, because he like goes to see his girlfriend or something. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, do you do this a lot? I would love like a travel companion. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird, but like,
that's
okay.
Great for it.
That's a bit weird, champ.
It was good. Yeah, weird champ. Exactly. So I was just like, okay. But then like 2 months later, I saw him on the plane again, and he sat next to me, and I was like,
so maybe it's like the consistent of like bumping into each other, and then like you build kind of like camaraderie. You were like
a camaraderie. I wouldn't call him a friend per se, but kind of yes, a friend.
Just like my plane, like you know him.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's how I feel about like if I'm driving on the highway and there's just this one car behind me, and then all of a sudden they merge somewhere else. I'm like, damn.
My friend.
Do you know how I feel? Do you know how I feel? Or like if you're on a commute, right? You're like on the train and you like consistently see this one person on the train, and then you make up this like whole story like about like you know, and then they get off at the stop every time or something, and you're like, oh, we have this connection because like you're just
like we could have been friends and now you're gone. Thank
like
you.
Oh, so like the story for you is like in the future. No, it's wild because like if I go to like an airport or a train or whatever, like I'm not trying to talk to like anyone at all. Like I put my headphones in, like people try to talk to me, I'm like, I'm not.
No, well, I'm not trying to talk to anyone either.
I'm not trying to talk to them either.
It's kind of like
they just start talking to me.
Oh, okay, for Kristy, maybe.
Dude, okay, one more story about planes. I was on a plane, like a 4-hour trip, like a few months ago, and this girl, the first thing she does getting on a plane is ask the like the flight attendant for like rum and coke or something, and I was like, oh god,
nice.
We're starting off great, and then she's like, ma'am, we can't give you anything until the flight departs, and then I was like, okay. And then she like turns to me and she's like, do you want to talk? And like she was literally sitting next to me, and it's a 4-hour flight, and then I'm like, No, but yes.
Yeah, at least she asked. Oh, never mind.
I mean, like she was gonna like give me dirty looks for 4 hours, and I said no. I thought she was just gonna be like, "Oh, where are you from? How's it going?" But no, she went straight in to the fact that she got dumped by her ex-boyfriend 3 hours ago, and then for 4 hours, I had to counsel this girl with her rum and coke.
Yeah.
Oh, so she just wanted to get it off to someone.
Yeah.
But I had to.
And you just happened to be there.
Dude.
I just happened to be there, but I was just like, why do people look like I want to talk? Do they think like I look like I want to talk to them? Should I like
maybe you just look really approachable?
I've never heard that in my entire life. This is a first.
Would you rather be very approachable looking or super intimidating looking?
I guess on the plane if I don't want anyone to talk to me.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, but I don't know. That's a weird question to answer. Like, I guess I would prefer to be approachable, but I know that I have an RBF.
Oh.
So I guess we always want what we can't have. So
the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's greener on the other side.
I look like a child, so people will talk to me, but I don't want to talk to them. But it depends on the situation, right? Like if I was at a restaurant and stuff, and then someone just comes up to me, or if I'm in a coffee shop if I'm doing work, right? And someone just came up to me, I'm like, I'm here to like be productive. But it depends. Yeah. I don't know. I've never had any of those conversations on the plane before. Like maybe I'm just not the type that looks like that I want to talk.
I need to learn from you. What do you wear and how do you look? Because I need to imitate that.
I have a set airplane outfit that I always wear. So I always wear joggers. And then I'll wear a hoodie because it gets cold on the plane. I get cold easily. I wear a hoodie and I always put on a baseball cap. And then I put in my headphones. And then that's really my outfit. Yeah, that's just comfy athleisure wear.
Gotcha.
But then the hat like hides like my face, so like people don't really like.
Oh, I think that's the hood up. Yeah, that's like that's a classic sign. Like, don't fuck with me right now. Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that. Except I'm just gonna wear like 3 caps. Like, don't look at me.
You would just wear like the cap that covers your whole head. What is that? Like a full brim hat, a fedora.
Wait, yeah, those like no, I'm gonna get a bucket hat. Except it goes all the way down my face.
You should wear that beekeeper. You should wear a beekeeper outfit, like because it covers everything.
I'm actually, I'm down. I'll try it.
All right.
I don't know where to buy it, but I'll try it.
Honestly, I don't know. They sell them at Walmart, and I know this because there was a sale. There was a sale recently for a beekeeper outfit at Walmart.
Because
I follow this Reddit. I follow this Reddit thread called Frugal Male Fashion, and it was on sale. Maybe it was a few months ago, but I saw that they sell beekeeper outfits of different sizes. So
yes, I would love a beekeeper outfit in my daily wardrobe.
All right, so we're gonna create a wish list of things for this podcast listeners to donate to get beekeeper outfits for our airplane attire.
Then we can get on an airplane and go on a trip together and take a picture in our
squad
outfit.
Yeah. Do you think people will be sussy? Like, sorry, I try not to talk in like, but I also am like really
sussy baka. Hello.
Oh my God.
I'm very involved in Twitch like culture in general because I honestly open Twitch like once a day. That's my bad. Sorry. I try not to have anything.
Like, I can't relate.
I try not to have it sneak out in my corporate life because like I do like a code switch, right? Like corporate lingo is a very specific lingo, but then my other lingo that I just like talk to friends with, that will be like either TikToks or just like stupid stuff that don't make any sense. Because like for corporate, my team, like we're not that close. Like I feel like some teams like they're more closer than others where like people know about each other's personal lives, but like we're all remote. So everyone's like farther out. So we don't really like talk too much about, we just talk about the weather. That's like such an adult thing, right? You're just like, how's the weather over there? Oh, California is still like up and kicking. It's not, no earthquakes. And then like, that's really it. But I feel like for other teams that I've heard of, if you go to the office, right? Maybe it's like more that synergy, but I don't know what my point was for this. Oh, the language.
The lingo.
Yeah, I agree with you. Where I feel like whenever I go to the office, I like have to channel my inner white man. And then I have to be like using big words.
There's certain terms, right? It's like, let me circle back.
I'll relate with you later. We'll put a pin on it.
Yeah. Or it's gonna be too much like drinking out of a fire hose. Have you heard
But
that?
really, what
is
are we
that?
looking for?
When it's like, oh, when you're drinking too much out
Yeah.
of a fire hose, it means like it's too much information at once. Or even like when you just start a position, right?
Yeah, it's
You're
kind of like
onboarding,
overwhelming or
it's
something.
overwhelming. Yeah. Or like putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's clearly we work in a lot more corporate than Jason.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
understand
very
the streamer
corporate.
language, and I don't understand the professional language.
You know, that's okay. Like maybe
okay.
that's like better that you don't know. But
It's not a
honestly, I
great
can always
thing.
I can always
I'm gonna be
educate you.
honest. Yeah, but sometimes I just want to be like, yo, that's like weird chant, Monka esque, like
Yo, one
but
time,
no, I can't.
one time, so manager, I was having a serious conversation with the manager in my team, and then she was talking something about like onboarding a new project, and she was like, "Oh, okay, we don't want to get too much into the thick of it or something," and I was like, "You know that TikTok with the backyardians into the thick of it?" That's all I thought about in my head, but I like bit my tongue so hard to not say anything. But they're just like terms that people say, and then now my coworkers will talk about Wordle, and then I'll do because and there's also many other versions of Wordle and all this stuff. But then I always do like sometimes I'll do like meme words, right? Like I'll start with farts just for fun.
Mean words, farts.
Meme, no, my meme. This is like stupid ones.
Meme,
no, meme, not meme. No, like this like.
That's why I was confused. I was like, why would you start with a meme word?
Yeah. So like I can't just say that. They're like, well, what's your starter word? I'm like, oh, you know, adieu. I don't know. Yeah. So I think corporate life, it just depends on the company you work with, also in the team. But I feel like from what I've heard from just like also just TikTok, like millennium TikTok, it's just like everyone's in that phase where they're kind of balancing being a young adult, but also being like corporate enough, right? It's like a weird like in between transition.
It's so hard
because everyone has like kids and stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
and everyone like I feel like I can't. It's hard to even relate to half of my coworkers because they have kids. They're old. They're like maybe like 10 years older than me, right? Like some of my coworkers, and some of them are like, "Oh, my daughter's older than you," and I'm like,
"Oh,
yeah."
Didn't even know that one.
Like dynamic there, right?
Yeah, and I just feel like I'm consistently being treated like a child, and it like frightens me when people tell me, "Oh, you've been with the company for a year and a half. You're so brand new," and I'm like, I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, if you've been here for 30 years, I am pretty new, but
that is true.
It's hard, right? It's hard when you work for like I think I work for a pretty like corporate company, and it's very hard sometimes to get around like the red tape.
So. Yeah, Jason, like how's your team? Like what is your corporate culture like?
I don't know. It doesn't feel very corporate to me. Actually, this past Monday, I brought my manager to a SACE panel for like Northeastern. And
whoa,
I think like as she was talking about like being an Asian professional in the workplace, I'm like realizing a lot of things that I'm very fortunate to have on my team. So one is a female person of color as my manager. I've never had that before in any of my internships. It's always been like white males. Half our team are female and half our team are people of color. And like we're like very young. So like at least in the scheme of like my team itself, I feel very like comfortable in, I don't know. I think there's still a decent amount of like code switching, but I think that's more of like just being awkward versus like feeling like I would be, I don't know, looked at like very differently. It's just more weird to bring up certain topics, but I don't know, on my team, I don't feel that corporate confines in like my office, but
which is good. That's fine. It's just like funny. I think just joke around.
Yeah. No, it is interesting because you guys work for like such bigger companies and stuff. I imagine like outside of my team, like there probably are a lot of that stuff, but I don't know. I like my team a lot that is able to situate it like that.
Yeah. I definitely think if I had to choose one thing to get rid of at my company, it would be the red tape, because if I have to hear someone tell me how I can help you, and I'm like, I don't know.
Like, I guess it's good that they're offering resources, but I think it's the way they say it, right? Because it's kind of like already putting you at a position lower than them. But I think the ideal even if you are lower than them, they should still treat you like as someone of value to talk to, right?
And it's
There's
I
a
think
hierarchy
like
thing.
it feels like a trigger point for me where it's like whenever that comes out, I know it's someone that's like a manager basically telling me I need to get to the point.
Oh.
So yeah.
So that's their corporate way of saying hurry the F up.
Yeah. Or saying like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I've had like a few of those as well. And then also just like people not responding to questions in my email or not reading the emails, and then you have to be really like not passive, but just like per my last email, you know, to be
exactly.
Yeah.
Re-looping on our conversation.
Yeah. Like how do you say nicely, like, oh, you should have read this already? Or if someone gets your name wrong, right? That's
oh my God, that happens.
Like it happened to me recently. My email is literally, my email has my name in it, one, and I have a signature that's like bold. So like honestly, there's no excuse to get your name wrong in general.
Yeah.
But like I can't just like I kind of want to just call them out on it, but it's like a weird thing because I don't know. It's like
the disrespect that you just like call me by the wrong name when my name is right there because you sent me the email.
Yeah.
It's like the amount of people that have called me by my last name, spelled my name wrong, or just blatantly called me the name of another Asian girl.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's like that we could do a whole nother podcast on that too.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah. It's like corporate life probably in general.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we have a few. You could ask all the Twitch related ones.
What, Jason, you don't want to learn the Twitch lingo?
Yeah, I'll teach you.
Yeah.
I did play that one time with y'all, and then I swear my computer.
Jason plays Valorant?
Yeah, Jason is a Valorant gamer now.
Who's your main?
I don't know. I chose one person, and the person that we were playing with, John, like our regional manager, is like, oh, that's like the hardest person to play with. Well, I literally don't know what I'm doing anyway. Like, who
did you choose? Now I'm curious. Let me guess. Astra. Sorry.
No, it's a starter. It's a starter.
Oh, starter? I don't know what the starters are.
I don't remember who you chose, but I'm guessing Jet.
Jet. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Was it
Korean one?
Is it like something with fire? Is that really
fire? Oh, Phoenix.
Yeah. Or Brim. Wait.
No, it's probably Phoenix. I don't know. Actually, Phoenix. It's only hard because he's just like the worst agent in the game or something right now.
Oh, who is Phoenix?
Phoenix, yeah.
Why? Okay, that's another discussion.
I don't know. I don't. I've just been told this knowledge.
Okay. Rapid fire time.
Jason's like, I don't even know who this person is.
See, that's why it kind of goes back to that original discussion of stopping when I'm not good at something right away. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I'm out of here.
So you're telling us you're going to come back and play Valorant.
Yes.
That would be the healthy thing to do would be to play Valorant. Yes.
Okay.
I've never heard that statement in my life.
Okay.
Why is that the healthy thing?
All right, it's on record now. So
yeah, so he wants to be healthy, so therefore he's going to play Valorant.
The healthy thing is to fight my demons and do something that I'm horribly bad at.
Don't worry, Jason. Yes. Just say the word. We will help you fight your demons. You're such kind friends.
Yeah. Don't worry. We got you. My computer can't run Valorant, but I'll watch the streams.
Hey, I used to play on like a 5-year-old laptop, and I lost every time. But hey, I was there for the experience.
It's about the experience, not the outcome.
Not that I want to win in a competitive game. No.
Right. Nope. Oh wait, I never got to ask you your Twitch username. What is that? If you want to answer, what is that? Is that based off something, or how do you come up with that?
Yeah, so it's actually pronounced like Wingy, which is like contrary to popular belief, because I think most people say like Wingy, unless you're like from the UK or something.
You have UK followers?
No, so like one time I was in someone's chat and I said something and they said hi to me, and then they like said like my name, and I was like, oh my god, they said it right, and I like freaked out. That's besides the point.
I thought you were going like international with this, like you had international fan base.
Actually, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I have a lot of Canadian viewers, also like Australian viewers. Very random.
Wow.
And I have a Mexican viewer too, I think.
She's Miss Worldwide.
Hey, Twitch is everywhere.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so Wenji is my Chinese name. I didn't originally choose this name. I originally chose something else that like just was like a spin-off of like Kristy or something like that. I don't remember, to be honest, what I chose, but I wanted it to be something that like meant something, or like had like significant value to me that wasn't like my name. And I felt like I never get to use my Chinese name, even though it's like a big part of my identity. And it also felt like it was like nice enough for like a Twitch handle. So that's kind of how I ended up choosing Wenji.
Oh, cool.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. This is like kind of a random tangent, but like, do your parents know that you have a Twitch and like it's under your Chinese name?
My mom knows. She's like, how are your internet friends? And I'm like, okay, mom. I mean, I guess. I don't think my dad knows what Twitch is, period. But I've never told them that it's under my Chinese name. One small goal that maybe if one day I achieve it is if I ever become, you know, that influencer life or something, I want to like tell my parents that I named it after my Chinese name. So, yeah.
So sweet.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be like a sense of like pride for them to see that. But
I think so, especially because they're like immigrants, and I feel like they've always like held Chinese culture pretty close to them. So
okay, we could move on with the rapid fire. I think we have a we have a hard time whenever we do rapid fire of like actually making it rapid, because we always like it's always like a discussion starter.
We'll try to just do rapid. Yeah.
Do you have a social media pet peeve?
Oh God, social media pet peeve. Why are these
It's okay if you
so
don't have
hard?
It's because Jason and I were talking about social media pet peeves before you joined the call.
Oh wait, I do have one. On Instagram, when people still use, okay, I'm sorry if anyone does this, but when they still use like the default Instagram filters like on their posts. I'm like,
good one.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Edit it in a different app and then import it in.
Yeah, please.
Okay. What is the place you want to travel to?
South Korea.
Ooh.
Okay. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Girl on Fire, Alicia Keys.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Favorite Valorant agent?
Viper.
Really? Oh,
yeah, I'm a Viper main.
He's a Viper main. This means nothing to Jason.
Yeah, this means nothing to Jason. Jason's like, okay, cool. And
I just have to get used to just work. You just nod and you're like, yep.
You smile and nod.
You fake it till you make it. Yeah.
Some may say nodders.
Hyper nodders. Okay. All right, next, Jason.
What is your go-to lazy dinner or something that you've been like cooking that's been pretty
instant ramen.
Okay.
Same. If you were not in STEM, what would your career be in?
Fashion design.
Oh. Okay, wait. I know I just talked about rapid fire not being rapid fire, but fashion was a question I wanted to ask you about, and kind of related. Do you have any like pet peeves for fashion, or do you have any secrets or things that you found pretty cool about like fashion for your own self?
Yeah, I've always been like pretty into fashion. I don't know. I watched like a bunch of like YouTubers and I was like, oh my God, they look so cool. I want to be like them. And then I like started like a fashion Tumblr blog at some point too, but that's like another story. Yeah, I was in 8th grade and I was giving fashion advice to like probably like adults. It was really weird.
Was it like good fashion advice? Like when you look back on it, do you think you gave good advice?
I think so. I mean, like, so you know how back in the Tumblr days, there would be like different themed blogs. So, you know, like every other Tumblr girl, I just started with like whatever. But then like I started seeing all these cool like fashion posts and I like niched into fashion. And then I don't know how I ended up there, but I started getting like a bunch of followers and I was like, oh, people like this. I'm going to keep doing it. And people would like, you used to be able to do these things where it's like, ask me anything, fill my inbox or something like that. People be like, can you give me style advice for like a night out or something? And I'm giving these like legit, like, I don't know, like 20-year-olds like fashion advice.
Oh my God.
I feel bad because like you're taking fashion advice from like an 8th grader, man.
But they didn't need to know that.
They didn't need to know. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also started making like Tumblr themes for people too, but that's also a side story.
Oh,
Yeah.
side hustle. Whoa.
You've been always on the content creation. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a Tumblr girl. But fashion pet peeves, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot.
All right, just name like one or two that come to mind.
This is just like in general, when people don't try to put effort in their outfits. That's like one thing that pisses me off. And then my like actual like fashion pet peeve is when people, you know how people used to have those like bandanas and stuff like that at one point, and they would like tie it like on their necks or something. But sometimes people would tie it and the ends wouldn't be the same length.
Oh,
that irritated me so much. I don't know why. I just like I couldn't do it. I was like, you could tie that bow a little bit better so the ends are actually like the same length. No, I feel like I'm just OCD about it. I'm like,
OCD. Okay.
like, what's wrong with that thing? So,
I see.
really weird pet peeve, but
okay.
Peeves are for they're like the super specific random things.
It's really random, and I don't even know why I cared. It's true.
It's like the symmetry, right? It's like,
I think it's the symmetry. It's the engineer in me or something. I don't know.
All right. So Kristy, one last thing we do for every episode in the theme of our podcast. So what is one thing you did recently that made you feel like a real adult? Or alternatively, it could be, what is one adult thing you wish you knew sooner?
This is making me feel like I'm not a good adult.
What does that mean?
Because I feel like I just don't do adult things. Okay, well, one thing I did that made me feel like an adult was my taxes.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I was really bad at it. And my mom still helps me with it. So I don't really feel that much of an adult. It just feels like a nuisance. And then I think about the fact that I have to do this for the next like 40 years or something. And I get a little bit sad about it. But yeah, don't forget to do your taxes, guys.
Yeah. I need to get on that. I still haven't done it. It's pretty.
The government will come hunting for you. But that's not a fun answer. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm bad at adulting. That's my other answer.
All right, wait. So our last episode, we kind of did the opposite, and we said, "What is one thing that?" What was the exact phrasing, Jenny? It was like one thing
made
that
you feel like a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that question. So the other day, I went to one of my friend's house, and she had these tattoos. You know those tattoos that you would have when you're a child, like in the 90s, and it was like the colored ones too, you know, not even the nice looking ones that they have now. And I just took one and I put it on my arm, like right here. I mean, I would show you, but I don't think like, yeah. It's like this, like a Hawaiian flower. You know what I mean? Like just like the weirdest, cringiest like tattoo you could probably find out there. But I felt like a child again. I used to love it when I was a kid. So
I forgot about those. Yeah. Because they look like stickers kind of, because they're, or like very glossy, right? Yeah. Because now the technology has evolved where it looks so real and you wouldn't know.
Exactly. Those like are the real tattoos. I just got like the super scuffed 90s version.
Yeah. You put like the wet paper on it.
Exactly. I was walking around her house like this and like people thought I like got hurt or something. And I was like,
that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah.
Those were the best.
Yeah.
I really forgot about those.
Let's do tattoos.
Yes, I'm down. I kind of want to see like where, because I want to like test out like where I would like a tattoo in reality.
Yo,
like that'll help, right?
I did Inkbox, like that company that is like the temporary tattoos for like 2 weeks. Like in what you're saying, I put it in a couple of spots that I thought I might want it in. So I had one on my shoulder, one on my forearm, and one on like the other forearm as more of like a band.
It looked real because I saw it and I was like, Jason, you got a tattoo?
Oh my god! Wait, can we do it again and then we can dye Jason's hair too?
Yes.
Dang.
All for one. Yeah.
All for one.
Yeah,
all for one. All right.
One for all. Sorry. Is it like High School Musical or like Boku no Hero? Sorry. One of those. Sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Kristy, for coming on the Adult Table. We're really glad to have you on our podcast, and learn a little bit more about your professional life, but also what you like to do in your downtime with streaming and content creation and all that stuff. We had some pretty good conversations. Do you have any socials that you want to plug to our listeners that can find you and connect with you?
Yeah, sure. If anyone wants to follow me, I guess on my Twitch that I've been talking about, it's Wingy. So like wing and then GIE_. I couldn't get the one without the underscore.
Oh no.
I know it was sad, but
yeah,
that is
we'll be
me
sure to
on all
link
my
it.
socials.
Okay.
Yeah. And thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, of course.
And for everyone else, so don't forget to subscribe so you know when episodes come out. So you can follow us on our Instagram at the Adult Table Podcast for updates. And I'm Jason Chin.
And I'm Jenny Chung. And we'll see you next time at the Adult Table. Thanks for listening.